Hey gang, Melissa Hinault here with the Burnout to All Out podcast. I'm a mom of three, corporate burnout that built a secondary six-figure income around my 9-to-5 with little kids. This set me free and allowed me to fire my boss and pursue my wildest dreams. It took grit, persistence, and belief. But now, operating multiple six-figure businesses as an online entrepreneur and business coach, I have become a serial entrepreneur with a passion to inspire more burnouts to take the leap and go all out and live out their dreams. Each week, I'll bring you inspiring all-out guests, lifestyle business tips and tools to empower you to take the leap from burnout employee to all-out entrepreneur, making your passion your paycheck. If this mom of three, corporate burnout, can go all out, so can you. All right, guys, this podcast is a juicy one. It's all about quit apologizing for being awesome. Guys, it's juicy. I get a little personal, share some of my own personal stories through personal growth and development, and how the larger success and impact you have, the larger the target on your back. And I talk with you about my own personal experiences and some coping mechanisms and ways that you can work through this and come out the highest version of yourself, and ultimately learn not to dim your light around those who don't want you to shine, but to live life all out, bright as you want to shine, right? And so anyway, I hope that you enjoy this podcast and it inspires you to be your authentic self, to live life out loud, to shine your light bright, create that high frequency vibration without apologies. And if that means there's a couple relationships that need to retire and be tucked away, so be it. If that means you need to be on the hunt for a higher vibe tribe, that might be your journey for 2021. I hope you guys enjoy this discussion. So here we go. Have you ever felt as though you're just growing and those around you are resisting your change? Maybe even throwing some arrows or doubting you. You're progressing in your personal development, your inspiration, and you're feeling like those around you are maybe pulling you down. The one thing I've learned is that the more successful you become, the larger the target on your back. I've heard it many times. I'm certainly experiencing it now. This is like a raw and real podcast. People are funny creatures that don't like change, especially if it means you're outgrowing them. You're outgrowing their perception of you while they're still standing still. I've seen this time and time again for me and with my clients who are just crushing it, where relationships that have served them or me for a season ultimately end up not serving for a lifetime. And the loss of that relationship, the grieving is real. And, there's scenarios where the relationship, you outgrow them. There's other wonderful scenarios where you inspire and people level up and grow with you. And that's the best case scenario. If you follow me and you're listening to this podcast, you're likely honed in on personal development and constantly looking to improve yourself. Likely places to experience resistance when you're up leveling. And I'm going to give you some examples. I'm going to give you some categories, and then we're going to pull back the curtain and talk personally about where it's happened to me. So likely places to experience resistance and growth is going to come straight in from your family, whether it's a spouse or your kids who want more time with you, or other relatives. Especially if you're in the social selling industry. We could do a whole podcast on that. Teammates. Again, if you're in the social selling industry, specifically network marketing, your upline and your downline and your sideline, and this could be in your day job too. Man, I experienced this in corporate. You're going for that big promotion and get laser eyes from some of the other people you work with. Closest friends, right? Some of the people you're closest to, and I'll talk about that. I think that you'll relate with some of these stories, but I want to kind of open up with this quote that I read the other day and resonate with so much. And it's behind every big yes is a hard no from those around you. You experience when you're going through major change, resistance is a real scenario. It is real world, real life resistance. And I know some of you guys can attest to this. So let me give you some examples personally, and then I'm going to really unfold for you some ways to address it, right? So for instance, many of you know last year I launched my LinkedIn business outside of my network marketing company. And my husband, out of everybody, resisted. He's like, aren't you already doing enough? The kids are coming home from school. Schools are closed down. We've got so much on our plate. But here's the thing, and many times when you get resistance from people, it's actually more about them than it is about you, right? What he was really thinking or saying is, we are good right now. We've got an equilibrium going that works for me. It works for us. Like, don't rock the boat, right? He also is not in the same industry as me. He couldn't fathom trying to operate another business on top of one that I was already doing, right? But my mindset was so much further ahead. I knew where I wanted to go. I had a plan and how I was going to do it, right? The cool thing about this story is that luckily it was just a great example of actually being able to take someone along for the journey with me. You see, we had a healthy debate. And at the end of the day, was open to the change. And it's created inspiration and changed his mindset about what is possible over the past year. I think that sometimes when you get resistance, if you can be very respectful, but have a healthy debate with confidence about where you want to go, what you're doing. But then, man, you got to show up, right? You got to show up, be the change, be the one who inspires, right? And that's exactly what happened. And now he's my CFO, right? For this new business. Okay. So another category that we talked about, teammates. How many of you, I'm sure there's many scenarios, day job, side gig, where maybe you've gotten some resistance from teammates. So again, I'm talking about growth here. Again, for me personally, as I was branching out from solely pursuing my network marketing business and hired a business coach who was renowned in the industry for starting up online coaching businesses. And I presented it to my upline, really excited about what I was doing. They completely poo-pooed it. Here's the thing. Why do you think they poo-pooed it? When you get resistance, I want you guys to hear me clear. When you get resistance, ask yourself, is it because they don't want me to do this, or is it about them? Because when I look back on this scenario, their pushback was about them. It was fear of distraction that would pull me away from what they saw as the main thing, making money for them, right? Of course they didn't want me distracted. Of course they didn't want me doing anything else. But my soul knew I was made for more. My soul had a calling to do more and impact more than just one particular team. So what did I do? I had to choose to distance myself from them. I had to level up and find a new community that wanted what I wanted. Entry into my mastermind that I'm a part of now, right? I found a new tribe. And here's the funny thing. This is what I said earlier about be the change, be the inspiration, right? Be a steward of leveling up and being that inspiration and success. Because I'm here to tell you, a year later, after lifting up and launching a business that just did a little under $500,000 in sales last year in coaching, three of these people in my upline are now launching their own coaching businesses. So here's the funny thing, right? I got resistance at first. I did the damn thing anyway. And guess what happened? When I kept the main thing, and I leveled up and found a new community, and I kept going. I didn't let them pull me down, drag me down. I went forward, and what happened next is they were inspired, and now they're doing something more and bigger, and it's awesome, right? I look back and I always say that there is a purpose and a reason for everything. Every situation with major resistance to me is a lesson, right? It's a lesson. You look back and you're like, that is why that happened. That is why that happened, right? Okay, another scenario. Here's a good one. The podcast. You guys wouldn't be listening to me right now if I had not overcome some adversity here and there in launching the podcast. So, again, this is an example of the bigger you get, the more impact you make, the bigger target on your back. You guys who follow me know I've been interviewing successful business owners, majority in network marketing, for my live interviews in the Burnout to All Out. Dozens to inspire all of my listeners, all of them. Now, there was one particular podcast episode where I actually interviewed one of the millionaires in my direct upline because he's so inspiring. He's been an incredible mentor of mine. His name is Murray Miller. Go follow him. He's amazing. Here's the thing, and this is where there's a difference in abundance mindset and scarcity mindset, right? And I took that one podcast interview and shared it within a business page of people that I was in my network marketing community and team with 100% out of giving back. Intent was to share an incredible recording of a top income earner in our community that hundreds could use as a resource and a prospecting tool and information to share with their network about the success of the industry, about particularly the success with the company, and particularly an incredible leader within our team. Here's the funny thing, people read it differently. I got shot down. I thought I was doing the nicest, gracious thing. And here I was on vacation with my family, and I get shot down with these messages that I've got to pull my podcast post out of the community, that people were complaining that I was self-promoting, that my Burnout to All Out brand had gotten too big and that it just couldn't be in the page. Guys, this is going to happen to some of you. It hurt. I can tell you right now, I cried on vacation, so upset that I'm like, who can I even trust? Here I am having fun, providing value, 100% sharing this to give back, and I've got a target on my back, right? I felt awful. And you get to the point where you're like, gosh, who can I trust? Because if I hadn't had this big brand and I hadn't been really successful doing something else, and I dropped this podcast with no big brand into the community, certainly everyone would have used it, right? So, hey, here's a challenge. I'm going to be a hard ass right now. If you're listening to me and you're that person, right, that's always glass half empty, or I call them mean girls. I see it all the time in my industry. I coach a lot of top income earners in different network marketing companies, especially females. Women, you guys are awful to each other. Awful, right? Oh my gosh, we could all get so much further in life being uplifting, being inspiring, thinking globally about impact and what we can do to serve. Oh my gosh. Anyway, okay, I could go on and on and on about this. But here's the thing. Like I said, the more successful you become, the larger the target on your back. But here's the thing. You choose the energy that you allow to impact you. Okay? What was my choice in this scenario? Well, here's the deal. That Facebook page, that community, they were no longer serving me. So what did I do? Because I have 100% control of the energy that comes at me and how I respond to it. I removed myself from the group page and I no longer participate or contribute to the larger team. I would rather take that energy and push it down exclusively to my downline and to my other business and to my family and to my amazing network of women who do uplift me and support me and believe in me, right? You have a choice. You have a choice. So it may sound harsh for some of you, but when you surround yourself with a network of amazing, uplifting humans and you create multiple income streams instead of one, here's the key caveat. You don't depend on any one business, any one person, or any one thing to maneuver your way through life. And when you have choice like that, you get to choose to operate in the highest vibe of yourself, choosing only to be with high vibe humans, which pulls the greatness out of yourself. You have a choice, right? So when you create financial freedom for yourself in your day job by having a side gig, when you have multiple streams of income, first and foremost, you're not tied to any one thing. If that company and the people in it are toxic, like they were for me in corporate America, with another income stream that keeps you stable, you have choice and freedom to leave that low vibration and pursue something that allows you to operate on a higher vibration so that you can shine your light even brighter instead of dimming it for those around you so that they feel safe. Don't live a dimmed light life. Don't live a dimmed light life. Quit apologizing for being freaking awesome. Okay? Oh my gosh. So I've got one more story for you. I feel like this podcast is a little doom and gloom, but I want to come out on the back end when I get done with this. Sometimes you have friendships that serve you for a season. Many of you have chosen, the social selling business, and you're seeing that some friendships have served you for a season, right? I spent the better part of my 30s commiserating over our high power corporate careers and juggling babies and diapers and complaining about our husbands with one of my best friends. Okay. When we got together, that's all we did. We complained. Okay. We complained together and we commiserated. But what happened, and some of you can relate to this, is I began my personal development journey and I ultimately quit my corporate job and fell in love with being with my children. And I had a healthy relationship with my husband. I felt our time together was suddenly imbalanced. Has anybody else felt that way? I felt like when we got together, all she wanted to do was to continue to complain about all the hard in life. And I had advanced and up-leveled and was loving every aspect of my life. And I realized, looking down into the relationship, that her vibe was so low. And even what's more is through my entire journey of launching my network marketing business, launching my LinkedIn coaching business, as close and as best of friends as we were and our children. And some of you maybe can relate to this. I never got a single like or a comment on anything I posted about either business. Ever. No support from her, right? Now, what's interesting, and it bothered me, and we'll talk about how you can fix that here in a second. So what's interesting is that during quarantine, my friend actually started her own side gig. She set up a new Insta account for it. She was taking lots of photos for it. And she reached out and asked me for support on her new venture through posts and comments and sharing what she was doing. And what I realized is that over time, my relationship with her had eroded because the vibration was so low with her. I felt like when I was around her, I could not be happy. I was dimming my light because it felt awkward that everything was good. And that's a bad place to be in a relationship. I'll ask all of you that are listening, do you have that friend or that family member that when you're around them, you almost feel guilty or like you can't be happy or that you feel like bragging? You need to check that relationship. You need to have a conversation with that person, right? So over time, our relationship had eroded. And I'll tell you, I got to the point where her business post about her new business, every time I saw it in my feed, it made me angry. My blood boiled for the simple reason that I thought, gosh, I've been promoting and trying to grow a business myself for the past 5 or 6 years. Never got a single dime of support from you, not monetarily, but you guys know what I'm saying. And now you're expecting me to support you, right? Now the higher self definitely could have started loving and supporting her. But if you're still not getting positive feedback from that, like I wasn't, here's what I did. Guys, you have the freedom to unfollow anyone on media that is not serving you. Okay? And this could be energy or vibration. It could be how they engage with you or how it makes you feel. For me, every time I saw her business post come through my feed, it made me feel less than. It made me feel upset that I hadn't gotten support. So I unfollowed her business page. Guys, I made a post about this at the beginning of the year. I do this once a year. I highly recommend it. Your feed, depending on how much time you spend on social media, is going to impact your mood. It's going to impact your mood on who likes and who shares and who comments and what they're saying, right? I would love to sound more authentic and say that it doesn't bother me either, but it bothers all of us. So the best thing you can do is once a year, I go through my list of people and I do a general house cleaning. Clean that shit out. Get people out of your feed that make you feel less than, make you feel not good. And here's the thing, you don't have to unfriend them. You can just unfollow. Right? I have done that this year to numbers of people who've thrown arrows at me or given me a negative vibe for one reason or another, or just make me feel blah. And it is now my feed is nothing but uplifting and inspiring and full of people that I love and adore. I highly recommend it. So here is the deal. Here's the deal. You can live a life trying to prove people otherwise, or you can live a life trying to prove people otherwise, or you can live a life where you set the standard. You set a standard that inspires others, and you leave all that bad juju behind, right? It is exhausting trying to prove yourself to other people. You'll never win. But if you just continue moving forward and inspiring and doing what your soul has motivated you to do, you create a ripple effect on this planet. You serve and you serve and you serve and you keep the main thing, and you block out the noise and you block out the resistance. You push back against that resistance. And on the backside, you'll see the why and the impact of that resistance. Every time there's great change in your life, you will feel resistance. And on the backside of that, you'll get to understand why that resistance happened, how it made you a better person, right? Trust your instinct, not the perception others have of you. Can I say that again? Trust your instinct, not the perception others have of you. Here's the deal. Had I listened to the people who pushed back on me on these stories I just shared with you, I would not have hired a business coach that's propelled me to where I am today. I would not have this incredible sisterhood mastermind who's made me up level on every aspect of life, who's raised my vibe and encouraged me and lifted me up. I would not have a successful additional business where over 500 people have gone through my training, getting crazy results, finding new business partners, and up-leveling the entire industry with better ways to recruit. The podcast you're listening to right now, it wouldn't exist if I'd listened to the naysayers. Guys, I wouldn't have a financial legacy for my family right now had I listened to the naysayers when I got started. You must trust yourself. You must trust yourself. You can spend your time combating the arrows coming your way. You can spend your time defending people who have the wrong perception of you and who you really are, or you can channel that energy in a positive way. We only have so much energy. Where are you going to expend it? This is what I tell my clients all the time. Where are you going to expend it? I choose to channel my energy towards my light to shine even brighter. If I'm that bright, you can't handle it, I'll hand you some sunglasses, right? Get some sunglasses and hang out with me for a little while, right? So when you shine even brighter, you'll attract a new level of peers and friends. You may lose some. Their sunglasses aren't even going to work for them. They can't handle it. That's okay. Some will up level with you. You will inspire them. You'll look back and realize that was part of your mission. See, here's the thing though. Most people are comfortable right where they are, but not you. You wouldn't be listening to this. Change through growth is tough. And even those you respect and you love can resist your change. They want you to stay right where they are, right as they know you today. Behind any momentous change is tremendous resistance from our surroundings, guys, right? Again, I see it so many times in high-achieving women who especially put way too much merit on the reflection of their self-worth based off the perceptions and approval of those around them. Hear me out. This comes from Dr. Valerie. These women living a distorted perception of their self through the lens of their peers instead of actually recognizing their greatness. If you are hanging around people who are low vibe, who are asking you to dim your light, I can guarantee you your perception of yourself is off. You are seeing yourself through their eyes, maybe a version of you 5 years ago, but not today, not where you were headed. If you feel like you are made for more, you freaking were. You are. If you're surrounding yourself with others, again, who make you feel that you have to dim your light, girl or man, whoever's listening, it is time to have a frank discussion with these people and let them know where you're headed and how these conversations when you're with them don't feel so good, right? Inspire them, tell them where you're headed, and ask them if they can respect where you're headed or not. But that the way this relationship is going right now and the direction the conversation continues to go is not going to work for you anymore. Guys, set standards for yourself. Set standards for the energy around you. Based off their response and their behavior, you can decide if you want to move forward with or without them in your space. You control the energy around you. No one else. No one else. And again, right? The more impact you make, the more success you have, the more arrows that are going to come your way, the bigger target there is. But here's the deal. You deserve a network of people who love that you shine bright. Guys, I know I sound like a broken record. You want people who want you to shine so bright and they actually fix your crown before you know it has slipped, right? They don't even mention it to you. Your vibration attracts your vibe. And let me tell you something else. Your vibration attracts your clients and your prospects and your product users too. If your vibe is low, your business is probably sucking right now too, right? Tough love right here, right? If you're hanging out with a bunch of people with excuses why business isn't good, people who are complaining about what's going on, take a look around. You need to find a new group, or you need to inspire the group you're around and raise the energy with the group that you're around. Do more. Be more, impact more. When you see the world through the highest version of yourself, along with a tribe who sees who you truly are. Now, guys, if you're like, I don't know where to find a tribe like that, shameless plug, you should be in the academy right now, where the vibe is so high, you better have a pair of sunglasses. Okay, back to my content. I'm almost done here. So, here's the thing. If you want some resources on how to raise your own vibe, one of my favorite books recently is Audacity to be Queen. And also one I've really been talking about lately for women is the patriarchy stress disorder that really will resonate with any of you experiencing kind of the mean girls world. Even as adult women, I think, especially in network marketing, sometimes people experience this. Wrapping up, I want you to self-reflect. What relationships in your life right now make you dim your light? Can you have a conversation with these people? Are they people you love and respect that you need to have a conversation with and let them know how it makes you feel and where you're headed and the direction you would like to move the conversation, right? And that you want to be the light and you want to be inspiring. Or is it as simple as an unfollow on social media? Who are you following along that's just making you feel like shit right now? Stop it. Just stop it. They don't even have to know. You can unfollow when they don't know. If you unfriend, they'll know, I think. I don't know. But you control the energy that surrounds you, guys. Are you surrounded by people where you can express your full authentic self? Because, man, it's got to suck to not be able to be your full authentic self, right? This energy will impact your every decision through 2021 because the 6 people you spend the most time with have a perception of you that reflects back to you as your perception of yourself, distorted or not. Are your go-to 6 people reflecting to you your true self? Or gosh, even a better version of yourself? Or is this reflection back at you by your 6 people a distorted reality that's a version of you months or years ago? After this podcast, I hope you sit down and think through a little bit of this. Who are your people? Are you able to shine bright? Are you dimming your light? Do you need to have a conversation? Do you need to unfollow? Where can you inspire? Set the standard. Thanks for listening to the Burnout to All Out podcast. For free resources, materials, or information on my coaching services, go ahead over to livethefreelife.co. That's livethefreelife.co. Or check out our Facebook community at Burnout to All Out. And make sure you follow Burnout to All Out on Spotify and subscribe to iTunes. And it would truly mean the world to me if you paused for just a second, gave me that 5-star review of the show, and be sure to share this episode with any burnouts you think would be inspired to go all out after hearing this episode.